Welcome back to the first actual episode of the Mob Character Breaktime. After many scheduling issues, we are finally back. Sadly, we are missing Epic right now because he seems to be dropping someone off at an airport. But we're all here now. Well, most of us.
Hello, guys. We're back. It has been a while since we recorded an episode. It's been like more than a month since the last episode was recorded. But today we are back, and today we are actually going to be talking about our favorite series and some of the series that we are the most disappointed in. I know if you've seen Joey's The Anime Man's video on asking 100 YouTubers what their favorite anime series is, well, this is basically the same thing, but extended. So before we start, I want to ask each of you guys, what makes a series a good series for you guys? Yes, you can start.
I had to say it was just constantly enjoyable after a long time, even if you haven't interacted with the series at all.
Okay, Les?
I think it's an world building. It has to be believable that things happens because of something. And I think characters have to have some in-depth in them.
All right, Glass?
I think it's a pretty tough question, this one. Because to me, there's a lot of factors, but I guess generally, it's just something that would make me very excited to watch, or rewatch, or just excited to talk about, and yeah.
Oh, I think in general, objectively speaking, what makes a good series is characters, plot, and the speed of how the story flows. So this is in general what I think an objectively good series is like. But anyway, let's just talk about each of our favorite series. We aren't going to limit the series to anime or anything, since I think most of us don't even watch that much anime anyway. So yeah, how about I get the ball rolling? So one of my favorite series is actually a series that I've read very recently. I don't know if you guys know it, but I think my favorite series right now is probably Golden Kamuy.
Never heard. I mean, I've heard of it.
Well, I heard about it.
Have you guys ever seen it or read it?
Nope.
No. I've heard of it, but no.
That's what I sort of expect. I didn't expect most of you guys to read the series actually. So I cannot say anything about the anime because I actually didn't watch the anime, or I know nothing about the anime. But I read the entire series because the translation finished. It was 300 odd chapters. It was one of the most enjoyable things that I've read in a long time. So I don't think actually I like to think that I don't like shonen series a lot, but shonen series are actually done very well. I feel like what makes Golden Kamuy one of my favorite series of all time is the characters. But let me just, since you guys actually don't know much about this, let me give some background on Golden Kamuy. So basically, Golden Kamuy follows the story of a soldier who just fought in a war, a Japanese soldier who just fought in a war, and an Ainu girl. The Ainu are like a ethnic tribe. It's a very historical based series. So basically, the entire premise of the series is that everyone is searching for a hidden stash of Ainu gold hidden somewhere in Japan. Basically, they go through a lot of things. They find people, they kill a lot of people. It's like a very gory series. If you don't like blood and stuff or historical stuff, I don't think you will like it that much. But I think the way it's done is that no matter what, even if you don't like it so much, it's still very enjoyable to read. For sure, for me especially, I think the best part about this series are all the characters in the series. Because all the characters in this series are some of the most well-written characters that I've ever read in a series before. And all of them are so extremely unique. All of them have their goals set in place. All of them are also they're all very funny. The way the series is done is that it talks about such a serious topic and so much serious shit is happening all the time everywhere. But at the same time, they manage to teach you a lot about the historical happenings during that time period. Plus also it teaches you about the Ainu culture, doesn't really teach you about anything else, but it manages to incorporate comedy and very serious action But really the characters are so unique, and all of them, you can really understand what each character is thinking, what they really want to do, and how, especially, I think the most important thing is how all their relationships develop during the progress of the story. Because I think if this story was that there are a lot of different factions aiming for the goat. So every time, like, some people would like jump factions, and it gets very interesting because there's always a lot of things that happen, and it really just keeps you on your toes, which is why I enjoy the series so much. And I think in general, it's one of the few series that really blurs the line between a protagonist and a villain. Because I think when it comes to a lot of shonen series, especially when it comes to like Chinese and Korean manhwas, is I realized something, and is that they don't do villains very well when they write them. The villains are there to appear and get destroyed and come back again and do the same fucking thing and annoy the absolute shit out of you. You guys agree, right?
Yeah.
Indeed.
You guys get
I
the feeling
agree.
something like they're such punchable people. But in Golden Kamuy, the way the villains are portrayed is that you don't really see them as villains. They all each have their own goal. It's like, think of it as Joker and Batman. Like Joker got his own movie, right? So it's the same kind of situation here. They're not just villains there to progress the story. They're villains that they're not really villains. They are actually their own protagonists of their own story, which is what makes it so unique. Because I think no matter what character you viewed the story from, it would have been a very interesting story anyway. And that's what I think about this series, is like really well done characters. And that's really what made this series one of my favorite series, even though it's one of like, it's a series I actually read this year only. And I'm glad that I actually finished reading it. So yeah, that was my favorite series. So anyway, I guess since you guys didn't read it or watch it, you guys don't have much else to comment about it. So Guess, how about you tell us what your favorite series is?
Oh boy, my favorite series, well, I guess it's surprisingly, would have to be Yu-Gi-Oh, as in the card game.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Also the anime series, yes, Yu-Gi-Oh.
I wouldn't think you would enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh that much. I really didn't
Why?
think you would be such a Yu-Gi-Oh person.
I love the series. It's great. Everything from the first series to I mean not really sevens. I like sevens, but I haven't really finished it. But from everything from the original series to Vrains, I think it's great. Um, to give a background for Yu-Gi-Oh, for those who somehow haven't heard of it, it's basically just it's a card game, a children's card game, and in the anime, people play a card game to solve basically all their problems. And that's like the main gist of it. Each specific series has its own plot. Most people only know like Duel Monsters, which is the first season. Although Yu-Gi-Oh has its roots in its manga, which is at first more about games as a whole rather than just card games. Because Kazuki Takahashi, who created the series, is a really big fan of just games in general. I don't think Takahashi's dead yet.
Is that
I'm
important?
gonna, I was gonna say was, but I'm pretty sure he's still alive. So I think the word would be is. Point being, as a sort of love letter to not card games, just games in general, he created the Yu-Gi-Oh manga, which I think is great because I also love just games and specifically stuff like tabletop and card games. 'Cause those are always fun to just bring out on a party, play some games, get some forget about things, just have some fun. The main appeal of Yu-Gi-Oh has to come from obviously the card game itself. I'm not gonna go into a deep rule-based explanation of Yu-Gi-Oh. That'd be weird. But um, as a gist, what makes it more fun than other card games is that when you can do something, you can just do it. You don't have to wait for like anything. Or because in games like Magic or Hearthstone or whatever, you typically have like a sort of system that prevents you from summoning or activating cards in general. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, if you can do it, you can just do it, allowing you to pop off immediately, assuming you have the proper cards in hand, which is very fast paced and just more my style of card game, and it translates pretty well into an anime, if you ask me, because obviously there's gonna be bullshit moments where the main character just top decks the exact card they need to win a certain situation.
Because
So that's part of the fun.
plot armor is amazingly strong.
Yeah, it really is. That's part of the charm, right? Like, you're the main character. It looks like they're about to lose, and then the top deck just something insane, something sometimes just so specific that it would never come up in any other situation. It works out. So yeah, you guys have any experience with Yu-Gi-Oh as a whole, whether it be the card game or the anime?
I've played it for a bit and I'm like, this is too much trouble for me, and I gave up. I played Masterling, right?
A Master Duel, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Master
think I watched it like few years ago, but I don't really remember anything.
in class. What are your thoughts about Yu-Gi-Oh?
To be honest, I never really watched the anime, nor do I play the card game. So I'm not really sure. But I know it's like a pretty old card game, and a lot of people still play it. And yeah, but I don't really know the rules and everything. Sometimes I just watch some of like my friends play it, and then I have no idea what's going on. The only thing I think, yeah, the only thing I know from Yu-Gi-Oh is Blue Eyes White Dragon, because everyone says
Wait,
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
so guess the reason why you like the Yu-Gi-Oh series is because of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game.
Yeah.
There's nothing about the series that you want to talk about other than the card game.
No, not really. The anime itself, it doesn't suck. I actually really like the anime. I'm actually rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh! Zell or Zexel, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And I'm enjoying it. The main fun comes from actually knowing about the card game. More specifically for me, the TCG, because I'm not Japanese, so I know nothing about the OCG, which is, I guess I have to explain that. The TCG is basically the American version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or I guess it might be international. I don't fucking know. But, and the OCG is basically the Japanese or original card game, which is what it stands for. While trading card game is for, I guess, just a Western or just international audience. I don't know why they changed the name like that, but it happens.
Gasp is
The
a
point being-
nerd. Gasp is
Yeah, I
being a
am.
nerd.
I'm just a giant nerd, yeah.
I mean, the OCG and
point being-
TCG is because they use different languages. When they localized it for the English audience, they translated it and they decided that the Americans wanted to do things the American way, and that's how it happened, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, it's
Point
weird like
being-
that.
Understanding the history of the TCG and how the meta has basically evolved, and seeing certain cards used in the anime that sort of like somewhat correspond to actual like meta competitive play. Pretty fun.
Well, I
Aside
guess,
from that,
yeah.
the plot of the anime is typically meh. It's not terrible, but like it's at the end of the day, it's about solving your problems with the goddamn children's card game. So,
I don't hate Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm a fan of card games as well occasionally. I play Wise, but Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel just holds a special place as that one card game which you saw as a child. So nostalgic. You just can't go wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess. Anyway, now that Gas has said his piece, how about we jump to Glass now? What? You got put on the spot because I called your name without you preparing?
Okay. I'm gonna start with the disclaimer first, because when it comes to like series, I'm not, I don't really get too much into like series.
I know you're a
series.
character kind of person, so.
I'm more of a character focused person, so like, I like a lot of characters from different series. So I focus usually more on the characters and stuff like that. But I think what comes to mind when it says I there are a few, but I think what comes to mind right now uh, is definitely like One Punch Man. One Punch Man, I feel like is probably for now my favorite series because if I were to just start with like a watchability or readability, I feel like I can just read or watch One Punch Man like a lot of times, and I won't get bored. It's kind of like a very guilty pleasure thingy. Like you just watch One Punch Man or read it, and then you know like usually it focuses a lot on like the side characters. They get beat up, and then Saitama just comes in and one punch people, and that's it. And then so that's they sprinkle a lot of like jokes inside and stuff like that. It's just like it has a bit of slice of life, not really, but and then it has a bit of like fun and wholesomeness. I just like it. I've actually rewatched like one the anime first season at least like more than 10 times last time.
That's
I
a
just
lot.
yeah, I just keep on rewatching it. I rewatch it and then maybe like a few weeks later or a few months I rewatch it again. It's just nice. But when it comes to One Punch Man as a series as a whole, I mean it's not done yet. But as the series as a whole for now is I think it has a pretty like the plot is okay. Yeah, let's start with the plot first. Yeah. Okay, so the plot I feel like it's a bit like open and shut most of the time. It's just this thing. I mean, a typical shonen superhero show or manga. It's just there's a threat or there's something, uh, and then the heroes go fight it. They lose, and then One Punch Man steps in. But yeah, that's literally most of like the plot, most of the arcs and stuff like that. But I feel like what's usually the best about One Punch Man is like the side characters, because when it comes to like Saitama, it's mostly just he's like the comedy guy. It's like very him and King. Those two are like the comedy guy. They're usually like very funny, and then like One Punch Man would always Saitama would always like one punch everything, and King would always just like have this like very funny stuff, and then the antagonist will always be like so scared of or the monsters. I won't say antagonist, but yeah, the monsters will always be so scared of him, even though King cannot do anything. But other than those two characters, I feel like the other characters are pretty like I won't say like very very well written, but they're pretty interesting. Like how the story kind of like explores each of them, like not in like a very deep way, but like they explore each of them like this, and they fight. How they fight the monsters and stuff like that, and I think it's just a fun. It's just a fun guilty pleasure anime series for me. It's good to rewatch. It's good to reread. It's very fun. There's a lot of stuff. And then like the Boros fight also. It's like one of the best. And then especially now like the manga. There's probably like that's probably spoilers. That's probably gonna be like the new best fights, which is the Saitama versus uh like the monster version of what is his name again? I can't remember. Garo, I think. I can't remember his name. Oh shit, man. It was supposed to be my favorite series, but the fight is I mean it hasn't ended yet, but it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, and then like the Monster Association and stuff. Yeah, but mostly to be honest, it's not really like a very okay. I don't want to say that because I don't really try to understand too much about like the story as a whole or the plot as a whole. But to me, I just like it because it's fun. It's just fun. You kind of get to explore each character, sometimes because most of the time, right? One Punch Man is all about like the side characters fight first, and then through their fights, they kind of like gonna win, but most of the time they just instantly lose and stuff, and then Saitama comes in. So you kind of get a lot of glimpse of a lot of the side characters. And although it's not very in depth or not too in depth, of a glimpse of them, but it's still nice, and it's just fun. To be honest, I probably said fun a lot of times already, but it's just a fun series, fun anime, fun manga to watch and read. So I really like that series.
Yeah, I think One
Yeah.
Punch Man doesn't need an introduction. I think everyone has at least seen it before, right?
Yeah.
It's such a common, like, overpowered main character trope, but it's very fun. Really is very fun. A very fun series to watch. You say it's a guilty pleasure, but I think of a guilty pleasure of more like To Love Ru, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just like, you just feel like, every time Saitama like punches like the monster is like hyped up, and then Saitama just one shots it. It feels very good, I guess. You're just like, oh yes, he's stuck in. He's gonna one punch the dude, and then everyone's gonna be shocked and stuff like that. Yeah.
That is a very fun, overpowered main character series. It's a very common, overpowered trope, but oh boy,
It
is
doesn't-
one very good at doing it.
Yeah, I actually think One Punch Man is probably like the only overpowered like main character trope that I really like, because the other, like, I watched a few, like for example Dragon Ball. I know it's very popular, but I actually don't really like it. It's like, I don't know. I just like, every time I watch, it's like, okay, I know Goku's gonna win. Usually I just watch it for like the new forms. Okay, and then after he gets like the new forms, I'm like, okay, I'm done. It's just that the new form is like cool and all, but okay, I'm out. And then there's also another one where it's like I forgot what the anime is called. It's the magic anime one. Like the main character is like the weakest in the school, but his technique is like literally one of the strongest, where he can copy other people to the point where he can literally like see an invisible person, because he got damaged and he's capable of touching the guy's arrow. So he's very F word overpowered. And but I don't know, like, I watched the series and I'm not really like not really interested in it, and I really like get very bored. But when it comes to One Punch Man, it's like, oof, wow, it's just fun all the time. Yeah. So I think that's like the only overpowered hero trope that I really like. Sorry, Gabs, what are you trying to say?
I think I know the series you were mentioning. I think it's
Oh.
Mahoka.
Mahoka?
Like the regular. I don't fucking know. I didn't watch this.
Is it Mahoka?
I mean, it's like a common trope now.
And it's a very
in,
common trope. People like it because it inflates your ego a lot for some reason, even though
Wait,
you're not the one.
Does it have incest or like?
No, it's not Irregular Magic High School. It's the other one. It's
Yeah.
What's the other one?
The other one.
Wait, I think I found
that's
it
war.
online. Wait, what is this called?
Okay, well, anyway, while you're searching for the series, One Punch Man, I think, is one of the few series which does a good overpowered character. It's like the only series which does a character that's funny, that can one shot people. Like I have read a bunch of overpowered isekai. They are so fucking boring. Like sometimes you can't understand what the character is doing, and it makes no sense. They are so serious, but like I don't give a fuck. It really is very weird. But when they make a character funny and overpowered, it makes everything a lot funnier and more. It's unique, actually. It's a very novel thing.
Oh yeah. One more thing
Like,
about. Oh, sorry, is that Les?
if you're going to make a overpowered character, you can't make that character super serious about what he's doing, because it will bore everyone. It has to give some comedic relief, I guess,
Yeah.
to even consider overpowered character having any character. I guess.
Yeah. I agree.
Like most of the common, like I think one of the most common overpowered tropes right now is the lazing around overpowered character. Those are like kind of like, they do absolutely nothing. It's a slice of life. Just make it a fucking slice of life. Is the same fucking thing.
Oh yeah, I have like one thing about this overpowered trope is that I really don't like series where they try to like build this overpowered guy where it's like he's actually he's known by the society or known by like the world itself, like he's like the weakest guy, but then he's actually very overpowered. I don't like that because it's like it's so dumb. It's like trying to like make them climb the ladder at the same time. They are not really putting much effort in climbing the ladder to strength because they are the overpowered main character. They have like an overpowered skill or an overpowered ability, like regardless. So it's like, I just don't really like that. Like those overpowered characters that's like, the weakest or known as the weakest, or they start as the weakest. I
Like
don't know.
they're getting overpowered out of nothing or one skill,
Yeah.
and everybody is, wow, he's overpowered. I can't do anything about them.
Yeah, like for example, it's like the series I talk about. I actually found the name. It's like Rakudai Kishi no
Oh, it's Rakudai
Cavalry.
Kishi. Don't people hate that series?
I like, oh my god, like the main character's ability is OP. Like he can basically copy anything like his blade touches. He's capable of literally beating the strongest like swordswoman without even any effort because he instantly just copies her like all of her abilities by just like clashing sword with her. And the whole anime is trying to frame him like he's this weakling. Everyone in the world is like, "Oh, you weak, man, you weak." And I'm like, what? It's just, it's so bad.
Rakudai Kishi is literally just an ecchi series. There's nothing more to it. It doesn't need to have any fighting at all.
True.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't even did anything before the series starts. Like he's strong, but he was doing absolutely nothing, and series starts, and he meet that his opponent, and now he's strong, gets everyone's recognition.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gas,
like-
you haven't said anything. You wanna say a few words about?
I mean, One Punch Man or
I mean, in general, this current topic that we have started.
Not really. Just yeah, it's the overpowered main character trope. They love going from the weakest to the strongest bullshit. Mostly to stroke your little I shouldn't say that out loud. That's not PG. Stroke your ego. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to start anything controversial, but what do you guys think about solo leveling versus One Punch Man?
Oh.
I've read both, and I can't say they're both good. I think I prefer Punch Man though.
I feel like a lot of people like solo leveling, but a lot of people at the same time hate the series.
I mean, solo leveling is good because of art. I think if art was shit, it wouldn't be so popular, I guess, because it's like he's getting overpowered and he's super serious about stuff. Everything is getting he has to do anything and everything by himself. Everyone else is everyone else does nothing. While in One Punch Man, there are other characters that at least have some character in depth in them.
Yeah, definitely solo leveling is the inferior, overpowered character series. You heard it here. That's our shared opinion. In the first place, I feel like art style isn't even like the best part about solo leveling. There's like so many good like reincarnation fantasy manhwa which have such good art styles compared to solo leveling. It's not even fair to say that solo leveling is a good series. It just somehow hyper inflates your ego more than other overpowered character series. It's just why people like it a lot.
Oh,
Those
I
people-
think part of it has to do. Do you see the fucking body transformation that man went through in the series?
Or fucking his gains.
Yeah, what the fuck? In like the span of what, a week or some shit in the hospital, man goes
Yeah.
from tiny, literally like probably like 5'7" or some shit.
this one, he's like Baki.
One
Baki is
week
actually a
transformation.
speaking of
Doctors hate him.
Speaking of Baki is actually a pretty good CSL. Okay. If we stayed on this One Punch Man overpowered character topic for too long. All right, let's move on to Last. What's your favorite series?
One of my favorite series is My Daughter Left the Nest and Returned as an S-rank adventurer. So it's the fantasy slice of life adventure. It's not isekai for all of people who don't want to read any isekai. We follows the daily life of middle-aged retired adventurer who one day find a baby in forest and decide to become a father. So at first he isn't overpowered. He's just he's experienced in comparison to his daughter who returns as rank adventurer, because he's that middle-aged man who is like 45, I guess. He knows stuff about monsters that other don't find necessary to learn. Yeah, and it is not it's not revolving about adventure. It's most about like daily life, training with a younging in his village, and from the other side there is his daughter point of view, where when she's in big city and she's like, I have to return to my father because I was away for a few years because I want to be adventurer, but I can't because there are monsters popping out everywhere and only I and few other S-rank adventurers can deal with them. And of course, along the way, it happens that it gets resolved. The daughter returns to her father, and there is like first big, I would say, fight or training with her when we can see his abilities. And it's shown from his point of view, where he knows her very, very much from he was training her from when she was little, like 5 years old. So he knows her fighting style from bottom to the top, knows how to counter them, and she thinks he is overpowered, but he's not. We learn about like he trained too much. He can't lift up a finger next day, so he's pretty human in that, and he feels like literally a 45 years old man who knows his way around the world, has a living relationship with other people in his village, knows them for 20 years or so, and he can give really good advice for young people and even for older people. This series makes you want to go outside, touch some grass, go hiking, go into the mountains, live a happy life. Yeah,
So if you had to sum up
It's-
your favorite part about this series in like one sentence, what would it be?
it makes me happy. Like it's pure joy.
I guess Glass. Do you guys know about this series?
Never
No,
heard of it.
Glass?
no. Uh, didn't- but I think yeah, it's. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just like it doesn't have to be a very popular series, or it can be as long as it's like a series that makes that is fun to you and makes you happy, makes you want to keep watching it or keep reading it. Then yeah, that's
To summarize it in other sentence, it's that the series is about family.
Anyway,
These are
as
vibes.
as someone who actually like read the series, I only read the manga. I didn't read the light novel version. I actually don't know if there's a huge difference, but as like the only other person here who's read it before, I have to say this series is really like it's the story of a tree in a storm. It's like you're watching this story in like a second person's perspective, but that second person is being thrown to the front. It's like the main character, the old dude, I forgot his name, Bell or something.
That's great.
Yeah, but basically he's just like there, and then he's always and then he's just constantly surrounded by young people, and then his life just like become from that little old cottage in that small tiny town suddenly becomes like he's suddenly thrown out into the ocean. And I think especially the most fun thing about the series is the way all the characters interact, especially with the Angie, the S-rank daughter,
Yeah.
and the Belgrave himself. I think that really makes the series like very relaxing. But at the same time, also there's some action that happens, and it's quite funny to see how everyone reacts and stuff. So yeah, in general, that's it's a pretty fun series. Sort of like a One Punch Man in that it's not like story rich, but it's more of like the part that makes the series good is that the characters and just in general how everything
Relationships.
develops. Yeah, that's what makes it a good series.
It feels like he's a real father and not just like some dude who happens to have a daughter by chance and isn't acting at all like father who managed to raise her for 15 years.
All right. Anyway, now that we are done with Earth's Fault, even though Epic isn't here, we actually asked him for what his favorite series is. But before we talk about his favorite series, I have to bring up something about from the last episode. You know how Epic described Penelope the last time we were recording, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
I basically went to read the series during this period of time, and I swear to God, he did like the worst job explaining it. I'm just so pissed off that he fucked it up so bad. He really screwed it up. After reading, I was like, she's not as bad as it sounds. I don't know what Epic did, but he actually made a great character shit. I was like, I don't understand what he did. But okay, anyway, now that we finished quickly roasting Epic. So Epic's favorite series is Kubo-san. I forgot the full name of this series. I know the English translation is Kubo Won't Leave Me Alone. But that's Epic's favorite series. So do you guys know, have you guys read it?
Yeah, I have. I haven't kept up with it. I'm not even sure if it's done or not.
It's not done.
Might be.
I can tell you for sure it's not done, but I also haven't been keeping up with it. Les, you know about it?
Not at all.
Oh, so Glass and Les, you haven't seen the series before?
No, I haven't.
According to Google, the Japanese title would be Kubo-san wa Mobu o Yurusanai. In the whatever that means.
Thank you for the title and amazing pronunciation.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, in general, let's just quickly talk about the series. So it's basically it's a story revolving around two high school kids. Are they in high school? Yeah, right?
Yeah, they're in high school, I think.
So basically, there's one guy who's basically transparent to everyone. Like people ignore him. He's like a ghost, but he's there. And then his table mate is Kubo his table mate? I think they became table mates, right?
I think that happens later in the series. Actually, no. I think they're like neighbors.
I think the reason if I'm not mistaken, the reason why they started interacting was because they became table mates. And the guy, I forgot his name, but basically your main character who always gets ignored actually finally gets noticed by Kubo. And then basically it's just a very slice of life type of story where it's just a lot of interactions between the two of them and the people around them. I feel like in general, I guess to say what's the best thing about this series is this it's a very relaxing series. This is definitely a series that just like calms your soul. That's the kind of series it is. You agree, right, Gas?
It's chill.
I didn't read it, but it feels like from your explanation somehow like My Dress Darling. Like
Mm,
not in a part when they're doing cosplays, but the loner who isn't like
no,
who
you
isn't.
see, the invisibility thing is kind of quite literal.
Oh,
Power, but not really. It's not supernatural. He's quite literally, he could be right in front of someone, and they could be staring right at him, and they won't acknowledge that he exists.
oh, all right.
is this taken? Is like invisibility taken to the extreme?
Yeah.
But I feel like extremes are really what makes characters more interesting, and that's really what makes a character interesting because you actually have a character who has never been able to properly interact with a person, finally interact with a person who has a lot of interest in them, and also slowly grow their feelings towards each other. It's really it's very warm heartening. It's a very cuddly series. That's what it
Sounds
is.
very wholesome.
It is a very wholesome series. If you
Gonna put
are
that-
feeling depressed, you could go and read it and then you'll feel less depressed probably.
It's in my list now.
Okay, so now that we've just quickly gone through everyone's series, does anyone want to give any honorable mentions to any other series? If a series that was really good and you really wanted to talk about it, but you realized that I only let you guys pick one. So if you want to talk about another series just very briefly, you can do it now.
I didn't really want to talk about. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, Laz, you can go first.
No, please go first.
I won't go long. It's fine. It's the series I mentioned in the previous episode. With my favorite waifus that were. It's the Angels Always Be Rotten. That's probably my second favorite series.
Same vibes as Kubo.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's all I want to say. That
Very
one was really
cuddly
good.
series.
Want to know more about it? Check the first episode out.
All right, Les.
So I would go with A Silent Voice. Do any one of you know what this is
Surprisingly,
about?
the thing is, I've heard good things about it, but I've actually never gone around to reading it at all.
You've never read it or watched the movie?
Yeah, I didn't.
That's-
I know the general plot line is that it's a story of like a girl who can't speak with some dude, some romance story
deaf.
or something.
She can't hear.
She's deaf.
Or
And
something like
that's
that.
what
She
makes
doesn't have
her-
one sense.
No,
Yeah, she can't hear, and that's make her talk differently because she can't compare it to each other, to other people, and that because of that, people start to bully her, and we follow the plot line from a point of people that from person that bully her the most, I guess. And there is a time skip after the all of bullying, and our main protagonist is the shut in who fears other people, and then he meets her again and learn how to live with what he has done.
Now
And he
instead of like
Yes.
reading all my shitty isekai that I have built up, I should go and read like actual good series.
I'm not gonna lie. Oh, A Silent Voice holds a very special place in my heart because it's the movie or the anime. It's the first not my first anime, but it's the anime that like brought brought me back to being very addicted to weep culture. Because I kind of like when I was young, I kind of watched or I watched a lot of anime when I was young, not as much and not to like the point where I'm like this. I just watch it like for chill. I only know like very small series and I don't watch that much also. But it
Every
was
week says that.
yeah, but it was the silent, like a silent voice that just made me very addicted to anime. And yeah, it holds a very special place in my heart. It's a very good series. Yeah, it's a very good anime. Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to talk about any honorable mention series, class?
Honorable mentions.
If you don't have one, you can just not say it as well. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, for now, in the top of my head, I can't think of one. But yeah.
Okay, for me, I'm actually going to, compared to all of you, to all like the series before, there are a lot of, all the series that we talked about were mostly quite modern series. I'm going to bring, my honorable mention goes to a very niche, very old series called Papa Told Me. So the thing about this series is that it's a series that was made in the 1980s, I think. So it's the entire premise of the story is a lot older. You can tell from the art style, the mood. But it's my honorable mention pick because it's a very artistic, very calming. It's like really my avant-garde pick, if I had to say in short. It's a series that I feel like a lot of people might not enjoy, but to me, it's a very calming series. If you are a fan of older series, because I actually like reading some old series as well, but sometimes it's very difficult to find translated old series in general because like not a lot of people have a lot of interest in them. But this is one of the few old series I watch that I've read, not watched. I don't think there's an adaptation to this. It's just manga only. But it's one of the few series that really like it really lets you understand into how manga was done back then. It's just very helps you understand how manga developed. Very nostalgic, very comfy series to read. It's a very comfort series for me. So yeah, that's my honorable mention. We didn't ask Epic for honorable mention, so Epic's honorable mention goes to Class of the Elite. Woo! We love
no,
Class.
not
Real.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
To
segueing.
the disappointment instead of honorable mention.
Okay, segueing from that segment of Class of the Elite, let's talk about some of the series that we felt fell the most short. I know sometimes there's a lot of good series, but the thing is that all good series, sometimes their authors have like a stroke or something and they just suddenly become like the worst writers in the entire world. So let's talk about some of the series that made you the most disappointed. So let's start with Les this time. Les, what's the series that gave you the most disappointment?
Well, Food Wars, if any one of you know that
Food Wars
series.
is Food Wars ended quite a while ago, so actually the details of Food Wars is quite not so clear, but I felt Food Wars was okay. What made it so bad for
Well,
you?
Food Wars was at least decent for the first 3 seasons, I guess. And then the plot started to the people that started to appearing the challenges before our protagonist started to feel really stretched out, and I don't think that it was reasonable to start giving like superpowers in the last season to people and like cooking with some weird stuff. Like I think there was even a chainsaw.
Yes, I think I vaguely remember a chainsaw being used.
And that's putting aside the other plot that's happening always after every dish. Yeah. if there wasn't so much exposure to that, it would be much, much better, in my opinion.
Gas, did you read this series? Shokugeki no
Food Wars?
Soma. Yeah.
I've watched the anime. I haven't read anything.
So what was your impression of it?
From what I watched, which was like up to like season 3, I think. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Well, most importantly, the girls were cute. But the food looked good. I don't know the rest of the plot, so I can't say anything about it.
Glass, do you have anything to say about Shokugeki?
I only watch a bit of videos. All I can say about Shokugeki is it's food, but it's like food porn, but down to like 100.
And here I did finish reading Shokugeki no Soma, but it was like 4 or 5 years ago. Like it's like when it immediately finished, I'm pretty sure I finished reading it. So it's been a long time since I actually read the series. So a lot of the memories I have of like the series in general is very vague. I didn't feel like there was, maybe because I was younger, but I didn't feel like there was too much issue to Shokugeki. But I guess like if any kind of series would turn out to be disappointing, is those long running shonen series, because who knows what long running shonen series go through. I don't know what kind of shit they go through in like those 3-4 years of writing or drawing manga. Yeah, okay, let's go to Glass. What series was the most disappointing to you?
Okay, disappointing, huh? I have a very clear one in mind. Okay, so the series is most disappointing to me, and it would be pretty shocking because I actually really love this series. I reread it a few times. I'm probably gonna reread it again in the future, but this series is Citrus.
Citrus.
Oh, Citrus. Oh my god. I feel like it's mainly I'm very disappointed with it. It's just more because like I feel like it's just such a like okay, it's not a bad series. And I actually enjoy it. It has a lot of flaws, of course, but I enjoy it. It's a very good Yuri manga and anime, to be honest. In my opinion, at least. But I feel like it really missed like uh, it's a huge missed opportunity. I feel like it could have been one of the best. It could have been one of the best series because I feel like uh, it's like basically it's like a like the core of it is like romance between like Mei and Yuzu, right? But I feel like they focus a lot on like love triangles. They focus a lot on you know uh like those typical like oh there's a threat here, there's oh they have someone that likes her, oh Yuzu has like someone that likes her, and then that's like the main conflict of a lot of like the relationships in that a lot of like in a lot of like the main relationships in that series. But I feel like it's such a missed opportunity because they've already like in a way built up May as this like like she holds herself very well, but she's very flawed and she hides like a lot of her pain. She has like she has like some sort of like trauma and stuff. Like I won't say like trauma, maybe that's not the correct word, but she kind of has like something going on with her. That's why she cries in her sleep and stuff like that. And that's why like Yuzu kind of like start to that's one of the few reasons Yuzu kind of like start to like, oh my god. But I feel like it's a missed opportunity because they could have like just instead of focusing on like love triangles and stuff like that, they should remove that and instead they focus on how like they just focus on the main relationship, how Yuzu can like help Mei and how Mei can like affect Yuzu also and kind of help her grow. How they both help each other grow. Like the anime and manga does focus on that. It's like like very small. It's very subtle, very small. Like actually subtle is the wrong word. Like it's just very small, and it doesn't. It kind of like just skips. It skips to it. It doesn't like go like from a road like this. Like I would definitely like prefer it where it's like okay. Maybe I should start this like by introducing like the characters. So Yuzu is like more of this, like how I say, he's she's like a very upbeat and everything. She's basically like a Gairu character, but she kind of like doesn't focus on schools and stuff like that. She wants her own romance and stuff like that. She's like the odd one out and stuff. And May like is like the total opposite. She's very serious, holds herself very well, but she kind of has like this inner conflict and stuff like that, and she has a lot of flaws, right? So it's nice to see like how these two like okay, Yuzu's not really that flawed, like somewhat flawed, but how these two like flawed characters like they like each other and how they both like grow from each other. There's gonna be a lot of conflict that you can explore, a lot of problems you can explore, and there's a lot of things you can write out of that. And like the flaws of that, the anime manga because there's an anime, but yeah, the series kind of explores that, but it's a very like it just gets their way. Like for example, in the series, it's just Mei Yuzu because like she likes Mei, she just starts working hard. Like don't do that. Instead of doing that, kind of like shows like roads and paths of how like Yuzu like to try to want to like impress me. She tries her best, and she stumbles and falls, but they both like or at that point it's like not they both are, but she just tries to like improve herself to a certain extent just so she can kind of like impress me. And like that could like maybe take a few chapters like this. They can like put more in-depth stuff into just both of them, and how both of them you know like strengthens each other. Like it's a huge missed opportunity because i I feel like when it comes to romance, that is like the type that I like go for every time, and really none, at least from what I've read, no uh there's no series, no anime, no manga that has done that yet. But I really like the concept where it's like it's just two very flawed characters. They both try to they both love each other. So they both like, but because there's like problems and stuff like that, but they both like try to get closer to each other, try to improve, try like listen to each other, try to fit with each other. And then from that, after they're together, they try to just climb up the stairs, just step by step. This you can write a lot of stuff, you can explore it. It's like it's just it's so good. Just thinking about it, it could have been so good.
If you want a
Such a
series
good-
about flawed character coming together, isn't that just Kuzu no Honkai?
No. Kuzu no Honkai is Kuzu. Okay, I love Kuzu no Honkai, but Kuzu no Honkai is like very completely different to that. I mean, at least in the anime, it is. I'm not sure about the manga, but in the anime, it's like very different. It's okay. Maybe I explained it too confusing, but it's just simply put, it's just I just like it where like instead of the series focusing on love triangles and stuff like that, external conflicts. That's like every romance have it, but instead of focusing on that, you focus on the main relationship. You focus on like you can pull like real life stuff, like you can put real life stuff, real life conflicts into it, to try to to help you write, help you write. But then, yeah, my explanation already fell.
So basically, you just don't like it because they focused on pointless things other than the relationship between the two.
Yeah, no, I just feel like they could have done much more. They could have done much more with like the characters that they have. They could have done much more with their relationship. They could have done much more at the end. Like, they could have built up a
Basically,
lot.
a lot of wasted potential.
Yeah, they have a lot of potential, but they just end up like, like this.
You know,
And
every
still,
every series has a lot of potential until it becomes shit.
yeah. But
When
that's
speaking
like,
facts.
sorry.
When you have a blank
Yeah.
page, the potential of a story is infinite, but when you draw the first panel and it's shit, you lost all of it.
It's like right now we're speaking and there is a lot of potential in our explanation, but then we have to explain it and it becomes shit.
True. It's basically this.
Yeah, I feel it in my explanation a lot.
My God, I feel like I explained, like, because I'm not prepared, so I'm not sure how to explain it correctly, and I just explained my own way. I just made things more confusing. My God.
Anyway, did any of
But-
you guys read? Anyone else read Citrus?
No.
Les, did you? No.
Mm.
Yeah, I've had Citrus on my to read list for like 2-3 years now, and I never got to reading it.
I love it, man. I love it. Okay, I still love it, but it's just I'm very disappointed. It could have just been much, much better, if it just focused on that specific role.
I mean,
But,
every
it's
series has its pros and cons. That's why some people like a series more than others. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
perspective, I guess.
But yeah, I mean that's why I'm like it's kind of like my most disappointed, but I still love it a lot. I
Can
just
you-
wanted to go on a better direction,
Anyway,
Okay.
Gas. Yeah, wait. In class, do you have
Well,
anything else you wanted to say?
Oh no, moving on. Let's go.
Next.
Alright, Gas.
Well, after all that, I'm not even sure if my complaints are warranted, but most disappointing series. I'm not even sure if it's most disappointing. It's the only like whenever I read something, I typically enjoy it because I don't have this thing called taste. My palate is ass. I enjoy most things I read or just watch. But recently, the thing I would say disappointed me the most would have to be JoJo's.
The JoJo
oh.
series?
Yeah, JoJo's. We're gonna get crucified. I'm gonna get crucified. And I'm gonna get canceled.
Well, don't worry.
Probably.
I've never watched JoJo. I've never watched a single part of JoJo. So.
You're safe there for now
I'm safe for now. Okay.
until they catch you.
Okay. Where do I start with this? Okay, first I would like to disclaim that I actually enjoy JoJo's. I don't think it's a bad series. I actually enjoyed it for what it was. However,
Bingo.
I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll start with like plot threads or just plot holes. I mean, obviously there are plot holes in not every series, but like most series have some plot holes due to world building and things not always matching up how you want them to match. Just okay, so JoJo's has like two power systems, or it had a power system. It's called a Ripple or Hamon, and basically they completely abandoned that for the modern thing, which everyone knows, which is stands. Oh yeah, I should also disclaim that I've only watched up to part 5. I have yet to watch part 6. Maybe this will change, but basically, everyone was hyping it up, right? And I was just like, okay, I'll watch it. This should be good, and it was good. But everyone was making it out to be just like something it wasn't, I guess, because it's just I don't even know how to describe this story because it's just kind of like one big overarching plot line separated by parts. And I feel like the payoffs aren't really that big. It feels sort of like a generic shonen in a sense. The only thing it has like different from other shonens is that I guess like the characters, aside from the main character, even if you're like a main character, unless you're like the main character, unless you're the goddamn protagonist, they're not completely safe. They're subject to die, basically, which sure puts you on edge if you like those characters. But there's like very little, what's the word? Worry. Um, because typically the main character is kind of overpowered in a sense. At least when they introduce stands. Because in part three you have Jotaro who can basically punch anything just to death. And like you realize if Jotaro gets a hand on the villain, if he gets them in close range at all, they're probably fucked. Obviously, stand abilities are very varied, as in there's a lot of things they can do. So sometimes punching them to death isn't very viable. But I don't know. I don't like how they abandoned uh Ripple. Just I understand that Ripple is something that constrains
What?
the Ripple. Sorry. I'm not sure if I made it clear. Um, JoJo's before stands, they had a power system called a Ripple, which basically uses like breathing to generate this energy inside you, and it lets you do cool shit. They use this to fight vampires, which yeah, because you know vampires don't like the sun, and apparently this is like sun energy or some shit.
Praise the
Uh,
sun.
What? Praise
Praise
the sun.
sun.
Yeah, sure. Point being, um, Ripple in itself is very constraining because obviously it can be used to deal with regular people, but it's obviously meant to deal with vampires and whatnot. Meaning that if you want a villain that's not a vampire, sure, you can still use Ripple in a sense, but it's obviously not as effective. Well, I understand that it constrained the author's ability to write. So he decided to change things up and move completely to stands, which allow for a lot more variety. But I simply think that stands are kind of overrated. Um, they're certainly a lot more flexible, as I said. But at the end of the day, the main characters literally they've all had the same trope or just same ability to basically just like punch the opponent really fast, and then they die, and then they win. Sometimes some main characters will die along the way, but most of the time, yeah, there's no
JoJo is
real
just,
sense of urgency. What I'm
just
saying,
such a wild series.
yeah.
So what you hate is that the world, when the author was building the world power system, they fucked up.
Basically, yeah, they go from one thing to another completely. They don't even like really mention Ripple at all after they switch because it's obviously irrelevant at that point when you have fucking basically ghosts that can beat the shit out of other ghosts.
Anyway, the first thing I want to say is, Gasp, I hope you're ready to be attacked online. But
Oh yeah,
don't worry, you have the child card, so I think people can't cyberbully you until next year. So you're
Yeah.
fine for a while, I guess. Secondly, I didn't watch JoJo, so I don't really have much else to say. So Glass,
If you didn't
Dash, if you
watch-
have anything.
Okay. I do watch a bit of JoJo, and it's nice, yeah. But I get your point. I like the ripple system. It's actually very nice, and it gives. I don't know. It's just I don't know how to explain it. It's fun. The ripple system is very fun, but
It-
I also think they actually I think especially in like part three they do kind of like talk about the ripple system a bit. Like for example, Joseph's ability is technically the ripple, but
and-
yeah, it's like it becomes a stand.
yeah, I know
That's
that.
why
Like
it's like
he only gets that stand because he's a Ripple user. If you don't know Ripple, you get a regular stand, but if you
yeah,
know Ripple, you're forced to get like Hermit Purple.
yeah. Hermit Purple was like one of my favorite stands. So yeah,
It's so like useless though. It's so just.
No,
Also, yeah, that's part of it. Some of the stands are just like kind of god awful when you think about it.
it's
So like it's completely uneven. It's basically rolling the lottery.
Gotcha
Sometimes,
system.
yeah. So yeah, sometimes you get a stand that's completely broken. Like spoiler, but the main villain of part 3 has a stand that can fucking stop time for like 5 seconds, and that's pretty broken. And one of the main character, the guy we were just talking about, has a stand that can basically like destroy a camera and produce images by destroying the camera.
but you know,
What?
it's a cool ability. It's
And like it's sort of like a vine that you can use to like pretend you're Spider-Man, but it's not as good as like being Spider-Man.
yeah,
And
that's true. Like maybe if they were to show like Joseph to utilizing her purple a bit more, like a bit more tactfully, it'll definitely be like pretty cool. Yeah, like in combat, like combat wise, if they were to like but
the
to be
coolest
honest, the
thing.
enemies are
No,
like
sorry.
very strong. Oh, sorry,
No,
but
you're fine.
the enemies are very strong, so he can't really utilize Hermit Purple too much in the combat sense, I guess. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, they always do this thing. I know. I think it's happened. It happens in like every shonen like, anime. They make the villain of the week. They make them out to be so goddamn powerful. They're having trouble, and then eventually they figure out, oh, this is their weakness. And then bam, they're just like, okay, get fucked. And
Next.
I know that happens with like basically every like monster of the week or like villain of the week series. But like after you've watched enough fucking series, you're just like, okay, get on with it.
So
No.
it's repeatable.
A bit, yeah.
Les, do you have
Alright.
anything to say about JoJo?
First, I hope you will be alive for the next episode. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I heard a lot. Right? From your explanation, the series being repeatable, I think it can be a big flaw. Well, Stance, in my opinion, seems very cool. I don't know a lot about their powers aside from stopping time and just punching. If you're not using enough violence, then use more and just win.
Anyway, I
Well,
have yeah.
Speak.
Oh,
Okay.
something to talk about. In general, writing like a very well balanced like fantasy power system is actually very difficult. I've done it
Yeah.
once before. Writing like a fantasy world and world building is actually like one of the most annoying things in the world because like you try and fill in a plot hole and then you make another plot hole because you tried filling it in and you just in a perpetual cycle of just like fixing problems and making more problems appear. So I feel like it's not very rare for such issues to appear when you like look very deep into a series. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Les, do you want to say anything more?
So now it's your turn. Yes.
Yeah. You know, I'm
It's your
sorry to say, but I'm sorry that we didn't ask Epic about this. So Epic doesn't have anything. So
LSP probably coat.
Totally. It's the most disappointing series.
Okay, yeah, I want to
But
bring up okay. But for me, I want to bring up an honorable mention series that I'm disappointed in, not because of the series, but I'm very disappointed in Act H because the mangaka got sent to jail. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I actually enjoyed Act H a lot, but it's gone forever because I don't know when the mangaka is getting released from jail. So anyway, compared to you guys, one of my least favorite series is actually a Korean manhwa. It's a webtoon. It's Girls of the Wilds. So if you don't know what Girls of the Wilds is, basically this guy is decided to go apply to like a. It's a very common trope. A guy decides to apply to a new co-ed high school and ends up being the only dude. Yeah, that's how everything starts. But basically, the school is known for fighting. So basically, all the girls there are like professional fighters, and you have this normal dude who went to this school for the sake of it being close to his home. It's very relatable, but anyway, yeah, he goes into this school, and then the thing is, I would like to say that the series is split into two parts. The first part is when basically there's is the tournament arc where basically he's training. You meet all the girls, you realize how fucking strong they are and how shit our main character is. But that's besides the point. So the thing is, the first part when they were still in the school, it was still a relatively fun series. The main drawing point of this series is that it's a school where girls are fucking strong and they're fighting, and you have this main character who's training with all these girls. But the issue starts when you start getting into the second part after the tournament is finished. Because after the tournament is finished, they decide that being in school is very boring, and most of the time they go outside and it suddenly becomes a fucking shoujo story. So it starts from a shonen series where you have a lot of fighting taking place, and suddenly everyone just wants this guy in their bed. It's basically it just became a series where all the fighting disappeared, and it's just mostly a story about how this guy is getting closer to the girls that he met in the high school, which in the end made me like so pissed off, because the reason I started reading it in the first place was because I wanted to see people fighting. But in the end, they stopped fighting for half of the fucking series. So I still finished reading it, but it was a horrible, arduous journey of reading that part of the story where it just became a fucking relationship story, and it was just like the main reason I read the story wasn't there anymore, but I still read through it, so it was doubly painful. So it was horrible. Yeah, that's it. I hated it.
Yeah.
This was like one of the few times which I hated a series so much. I felt so disappointed in it. It's so horrible. Let me tell you, I've read so many shitty series in my life. I read series that get like 2 to 4 stars on fucking manga decks. And the thing is that they don't disappoint me because they are shit from the start. But if you actually make a series good from the start and you fucking change the genre midway through, I'm gonna get fucking pissed because this is not what I came here for. So it's horrible.
Did you read it from the start to the end?
Yeah, I finished reading the entire series,
Oh.
which is exactly why I'm so disappointed, because after I read the fucking last chapter, I realized it's the end. And I saw no fighting for half of the fucking series.
That sounds awful.
It was awful. I don't think I've been disappointed by a series more than Girls of the Wilds in my life. And I've read more than 1,000 manga, webtoon, manhwa series. And not even a Chinese shitty manhwa has made me more disappointed than this. It's horrible.
I mean, you can't expect anything from Chinese ones.
Yeah, there was nothing to be disappointed in. Have any of you guys read it?
Girls of the Wild? No.
I feel like most of the time when I talk about series, you guys all don't read the series that I read. Maybe because I just read an overwhelming amount of series compared to everyone else. I don't know. Who
I
knows?
feel like that's gotta be. I don't really watch stuff anymore
I don't watch stuff either. I just read too much.
or read. I
You know,
don't
like-
either.
Speaking of which, like the past 2 weeks, like every night I've been binging one entire series every night. That's
Oh,
how much I
damn.
read. It's horrible for my sleep schedule, but I did do that for a while. Yeah. Anyway, that is our most disappointing series of
Honestly,
all time.
I
maybe.
rewatch things more than I actually started once.
Yeah, I feel I have a lot of series that I have like over 400 series that I have planned to read, but it's very difficult to start some of them for me. But yeah. Anyway, that's it for our favorite series and our most disappointing series. Do you guys have any other series you want to add on now?
Oh wait, can I add on something to the to what I said before?
Sure.
What about Citrus?
No, it's I think it's mainly about what you said, like if I wanted a series to be like this, I should read Kusuno Honkai.
Oh yeah.
It's so it's actually been a while since I watched Kusuno Honkai, so I don't instantly remember it. But now thinking back a bit, like Kuzo Honkai does actually have a bit of like what I'm searching for, but it's it kind of went like a bit too straightforward. That's why it doesn't really like have it. Like not straightforward. That's not the correct term. But it's like, for example, the main two couples, they just like the main couple, they just kind of learn like, oh, uh they shouldn't search, they shouldn't like aim like for something that they can't get, but and instead, like, they already have something in front of them. But technically the anime, the ending, it didn't end like that. That Mugi kind of didn't think that way, and he just laughed. But for the relationship with the antagonist, though, that one is very close. That one is very close to what I wanted. But it's not mainly because I feel like, yeah, it's mainly because it's just like the guy that is just like so he's just so good that he would just accept the girl no matter what. And in the end, like even she's like, she kind of like, a heart kind of like got soft by him. And I feel like that's not like the improvement. That's not like the two flawed people get into a relationship and then they improve each other. That's more like just she gets soft and then she falls in love. So that's why I think like it's you know not not really what I want when it comes to it. But this is not supposed to be what I want.
To be honest, I haven't kept up with Kuzuno Honkai either.
I mean, to be honest, from what I said is only from like a memory, and I only watched the anime. So yeah, but yeah, I just feel like, especially Citrus, it has the highest potential to like in if I recall correctly, like all of like the stuff I read, not Kuzo Honkai, Citrus is definitely the one with the most potential when it comes to like exploring like a relationship. And one is less flawed than the other, but two like flawed characters just learning to uh just love each other, improving together, and trying to fit with each other like this. Yeah, it definitely like missed the marker. So yeah, all I really want to talk about. I'm sorry. But
You keep
That's fine.
apologizing for no reason.
Why are you
You need to stop apologizing. You did nothing wrong, Glass.
kind of went off topic, man.
Yeah, what does anyone else have anything they want to add on?
About the series discussion? Not really.
About anything that was covered, or if there's any series that you want to bring up just for a short while.
You mean the disappointment one?
Either one.
Classroom of the Elite, right? Most disappointing series of all time. Thank you. And
Yes.
aside from that, I think Seven Deadly Sins, like, it's too long, too stretched. Our leveling is too much, and it becomes too boring and the two-third of the series, in my opinion.
Oh, speaking of series that drag on too long, fucking Rental Girlfriend. That fucking thing has lasted far too long.
I swear, wasn't there like 10 different moments where he was like supposed to confess?
Yeah, there is. And it fucking took like 300 is it 300 chapters? I don't know, it's like 250 chapters for them to fucking kiss. And they made one whole fucking chapter about the fucking kiss chapter. It's such a fucking weird series.
God.
It's horribly like, it was okay for like maybe like the first 5 chapters, but it just continuously went downhill.
It's so ass.
Yeah, anything else? Anything else?
Oh, I have like a small comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I searched up Girls of the Wild, and god damn the art, and god damn, oh,
Pressed.
holy shit! Oh my god! I want to read this. Even though it's probably disappointing, but god damn, man.
I mean, if you're
holy-
reading if you're just reading for the art style, it doesn't really matter. But I care about the plot, so it became
God
shit
damn,
for
look
me.
at this. They look so badass. So my god.
Okay,
This
so
came for the plot, but I think Glass is gonna go for the plot. You know what I'm saying?
no, so
The better plot.
if anyone else has anything other than Glass simping for girls,
I
it's
don't
your
think so.
last chance.
No, not about any series. I think.
Okay, with that said, that's the end of us discussing some of our favorite series and some of our most disappointing series that we've read or watched or seen in our entire life for now. Maybe it'll change in the future, but we never know. Anyway, that's it for now. Everyone say goodbye.
Actually, no, there's actually something I want to say.
Goodbye.
I'll disclaim that the next episode will likely be a live stream rather than an actual pre-recorded bullshit sort of thing.
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay, Glass,
Wait,
you'll learn about this later. Okay, anyway, guys, say bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye. We'll see you guys next month.
See you guys next time. Slap that like button. Ring that notification bell.